Actually, guys, can you give me 1 minute? Can I take that call?
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Mike and I are ready to do this podcast with Gerald, and he walks away. Too big, too important for talking to Mike and I. I get it. It's good to be the Gerald, I guess, but
All right, sorry about that.
no problem.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Squat Cobbler. I'm Dr. Mike, Edificial Pagan on everything, and joining me, as always...
Hi, everybody. This is Kelly at KELLYTHUL on Twitter and Instagram.
And Kelly had the idea of us recapping a few things that happened yesterday. I added another title to my title. How would you even word that? Another prefix to my title?
Is it like... Because it can't be the most honorable. It can't be... That can't.
I mean, I like that.
Yeah,
I like the sound.
I'm sure you do, but it's inappropriate and wrong. So it's another accolade. We'll go with accolade.
Okay, another accolade. I like that. It's still good. I have a certificate to prove it, so it's an accolade. So for anyone who didn't catch any of the social media shenanigans the other day, I was the mayor at the time that we're recording this. This is the day after my serving as mayor for the day of Hill, Michigan. How does that make you feel about our democratic process, Kelly?
About the same, sadly. Nothing. There are no surprises left.
That's about where you thought we were.
Yep, it felt right.
During a pandemic, no less.
Yeah, that was unanticipated because this date's been established for a while. Where you're going to serve.
It was set up months ago.
So you had the little bonus of you didn't have the big rally that we were all hoping for.
No, but we did put together a fun little video that went up on YouTube, and 10,000 people watched it the first day.
Yeah, and we're going to include that in the blog post. We'll add a playlist to the Bog Panda YouTube channel. By the way, if you haven't liked and subscribed to Bog Panda,
I know. Oh, we did terrible today.
Please consider doing so, where you will receive various podcast content, music reviews, recommendations, and a special playlist dedicated to Mike's reign of terror as the mayor of Hell, Michigan. So we will put that out there, including Mike's primary video, and then he had some Facebook posts that he did as well, video posts as well, that we'll get on there as well. So we'll have a nice playlist that'll cover a lot of Mike's day.
And doing the Facebook post was fun because I don't do those a lot. I'm not on Facebook a lot. Instagram is really my social media platform of choice, which we've discussed on the show a number of times. I have the Facebook page mostly to remember birthdays for me and to repost things from the Instagram page. That's really what 90% of the content on there is. Occasionally I'll get tagged in something, so I'll comment on it. That's about it. That's as far as deep as I dive into Facebook. I have done those Facebook Live videos a few times, though. It was fun to kind of jump back into that, although I didn't do them for very long, which I guess some people missed them the first time around because of that. Apparently, the etiquette for that is to go live, wait for a couple minutes for people to get the notifications of it, and then have them jump on. It was fun to do, though, because I got to kind of show people a little bit more of the compound that I think you see in the typical social media post. Because the first one, I started off in the photo studio, then I did something in the merch room. So you didn't get like the whole spaces, but you got a little bit of it. Like from the record player that we talked about on the Nurture and Support episode I was a guest on, and then kind of like panned up so you can see one of the merch cabinets filled with CDs and records and things like that. A little bit in the studio, a little bit in the arcade. Did you feel like you were deeper embedded into my bunker here, Kelly?
It was a wonderful virtual tour, so that was great. And like I said, we will have all of that on the Bog Panda YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe so you'll be able to see all of this.
Bog Panda.
Let's go through your day. So the day of your mayorship. So you get up as usual about noon, right? And
I'm an early riser, actually. I'm more of a morning guy.
So you get up, I'm mayor today. What's the first mayor-related activity you do in terms of how does this all kick off?
So I got up in the morning. I was excited about this, but I didn't know how it was going to play out. I was told that I would get a call to go through my swearing in or whatever it's called when you become mayor, but I didn't know what number that was going to come from or exactly what time that was going to come because I did not think in advance until that morning, hey, I'm in a different time zone than Michigan. I wonder when this is supposed to happen. I wonder how this is supposed to happen. And like many people, I get inundated with spam calls and things like that. So I often don't answer my phone. So very rarely do I talk on the phone. For the most part, people just text me, which is what I'd prefer communication wise most of the time. So I was like, oh, I'm going to have to, the most nerve wracking part of leading a town during a global pandemic was I was just going to have to answer the phone when it rang. That was the hardest part of my day. Like, oh, when are they going to call? So I ate some breakfast. I finished watching a movie on Amazon Prime that I'd started the night before. So then I came downstairs. So for anyone who doesn't know, the bunker is split into two separate, technically on paper properties. The upstairs is a house and the downstairs is offices. So I came down into the offices because I figured I would need to be down here anyway. And right after I came down, I got the initial call. So a very nice lady named Tristan. She walked me through the whole thing, read me the thing that makes you mayor. I'm very, very deeply involved in our democratic process here. So yeah, all of that went really well. She told me a little bit about the history of the town. It was really interesting. I didn't know too much. There's a little bit on the town has like an official website. You can read a little bit about it, but you get more color, more like local flair to it, having somebody kind of explain it to you who lives there. So kind of ran down how everything went. Then I made my first live video and we kind of went from there. I did a little later in the day, after the first couple of live videos, I got a call from the guy whose job I took for the day, who's the rest of the year, the mayor of hell. Really nice gentleman, 75 years old, I believe he said. So we were talking for a little bit, talk about music and different things like that. Yeah, it was a good time. What did you think as vice mayor?
I think actually deputy mayor, just, I know it's a little detail for you, but this begins, as the story unfolds, is that Mike's a big whiny baby. So the first part about Mike being a big whiny baby is, time zones. They're so hard because Mike imposes his time zone on me. I'm not allowed to think in my time zone. I can only think in Mike's time zone. And so here he had to deal with somebody who actually honored their own time zone. So what a sacrifice you had to make. And I think, so the promotional video, though, you posted that early, too, though. That was before any of the live stuff.
Yeah. So that technically went up before the inauguration, but I didn't, post about it until around that time when I was inaugurated.
Yeah, and so maybe we just do take a minute on that and that video. And again, it'll be included in the blog post that features yours truly as, well, so actually, back that up. The introduction is by, the gentleman's name again is?
Gary Holt.
Gary Holt's obey in his introduction is still my favorite moment of the whole video. What a cool guy. But Gary introduces Mike, provides some direction that people need to obey him.
And Gary, for anyone who doesn't know, is the guitar player of the legendary band Slayer, who recently retired.
So he was awesome. That's followed by a brief snippet by yours truly as deputy mayor, indicating that should Mike be removed from office at some point in time, I was ready to take his place because Mike, rightfully so, needed to plan for that. And so we had that contingency covered. So we had that. And then I'm trying to remember sequence-wise who's next.
Mike Reese, a friend of mine, was the next gentleman up.
And he provided some additional information and context. And then what ended up being a bit of a surprise to me is that I had not realized that Nikki Bilderback, friend of the show and individual I stalk regularly, she and Mike have gotten married, at least for the day, so that she could be Queen of Hell. And so Nikki did a wonderful piece as well, drinking, as you would expect Mike's betrothed to do, pretty significantly. And then we get a little bit of Vex to take us out.
Yes. Yeah, Vex is one of the funnier parts. Unfortunately, I don't know what it was, the settings or something. His video is a little bit blurry, but you can still hear it, which is the most important thing. You can see him and still hear it. I wanted to include something at the end, and he nailed it perfectly of this has been paid for by your tax dollars.
Yeah, and not unsurprisingly, Vex seems to have a lot of SS memorabilia. So...
He gave me like 10 different takes of it with all different props and things like that. He was great about it, including a lot with the wrestling belts. So if anyone doesn't know, Vex's his hobby, I guess, is collecting WWE/WWF championship belts. Like the full on, he has at least a dozen of them, I would say now, from all the from a lot of the different like major events like the WrestleManias and things like that. So there was a couple of them with wrestling belts as well. But the one with the hat, he just nailed it.
Yeah, it was great. And for we have a promo trailer for the Bog Panda YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Clearly a multiple take guy because he sent in a couple takes of his little segment for that as well, which we took full advantage of because he does a great job. So yeah, I agree is kind of the highlight of the video. So that went out. Your first live video went out, providing a status. So particularly, do you want to share? People can see it in the video, but do you want to share the two main, what I believe are the two main laws you put into place while you were mayor?
So there was a couple of things. It was 3. The pagan is the official band of hell, which I feel like goes without saying. Then that the Star Wars Christmas my mouth stopped working. The Star Wars Christmas special, or is it holiday special? Is that the official name?
I think it's holiday special.
The Star Wars
a
holiday
little more inclusive that way.
Yeah, the Star Wars holiday special. The Star Wars holiday special is canon, that I don't care what George Lucas says about it, and that we are going to start aggressively expanding the borders of hell to Hell East and Hell West across the United States.
And I'm sure those whistled through Hell's Parliament without a hitch.
Well, I mean, I think as soon as so the way it was explained to me is that as soon as I am no longer mayor, once I was formally impeached, anything that I had stated is no longer the case anymore once that happens. But they did agree that Pagan could remain the official band of the town throughout the month.
Well, there you go. I think also in that video, let's go back to Mike being a big whiny baby. There was something else you started to, I dare say, complain about at this point in time.
Oh, so Kelly had made some thinly veiled threats against me, planning what seemed like a coup, and also stealing my wife at the event of my death.
Yeah, and I believe the word you used was plotting. That I was plotting an assassination. And that hurt, that really was cruel for you to say, because there is a big difference between plotting and musing. When you're musing about assassination, plotting is like 10 Google searches on assassins for hire, setting up dark web access, getting some cryptocurrency available. And I can guarantee you, I did not do 10 Google searches.
At least one email to Carol Baskin.
Well, yeah, checking in, she's kind of always, she's got it handled down. Oh, man, I should have had a tiger eat you. Shoot. Allegedly. Anyway, so that been good. Yeah, I was just pondering. Like I said, it was definitely not 10 searches on murder for hire.
Well, that's good.
So we got the live updates. Anything else? A chance to chat with the mayor. So when does your time as mayor come to end? When does the angel of mayor death come upon you?
I mean, I would guess that it's like midnight or something like that is probably the official kind of end of it. They did give me a call in the evening just to read me the official like impeachment that they've decided to remove me from office, which was nice. I missed the call the first time. I was putting some things away, some dishes away or something like that. Didn't hear my phone vibrate, so I called them right back. So apparently I do have a voicemail of them reading it as well, which I haven't got an opportunity to check yet. But they read it to me and they said they did better the second time. So
that would be a really good bump to the end of Squat Cobblers or something to take the audio of that.
I definitely have to get that together for you.
And so I did notice also on social media that this created a great deal of concern for Nikki that maybe perhaps your appeal had diminished. And she was like, "What?" So that was nice to see.
She came back around pretty quickly, though. It's hard to diminish my appeal, sir.
I kind of view it more as like a Trump-Melania thing. Myself is kind of how I kind of look at it. But that's just me. I could be wrong. Probably not.
I mean, he is president. So if what you mean by that is that's my next stop, then sure.
That's not exactly what I meant, but again, I'm taking the passenger seat on that as well. So I'll go along for the ride. Maybe I can run a pandemic committee or something. That would be fun. Cool. Well, I assume this was a rich and rewarding experience for you.
It was. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad so many people got to watch the video, not the live videos. It seems like people are catching up on those now. I'll know better for the future, but so many people got to watch the video, which is really cool. Obviously, thank you for taking part in it and making such a great clip for it. And Gary and Nikki and Mike and of course Vex for putting all that stuff together. I think the video turned out great. I had a lot of fun doing it. I hope that we can do something like that again soon. And from speaking with them, I think we are going to be planning a trip out to hell once, the whole quarantine thing is lifted.
Well, hell's not too far from my house. I said that even before this, so yeah, so it's a bit of a trip, but I did some plotting on that back in the day when people could actually travel and stuff, and we were wondering how things
Next calls that the before times.
Yes, in the before times, did that, and so that's I could possibly join the crew for that. That could be pretty fun. Actually, that's where the next Snarkstock should be.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
So I don't know. I'm gonna guess
Snark Alex go to hell.
Snark Alex go to hell. It could be pretty cool. I'm gonna guess it's gonna probably about 8 hours for you.
Driving was?
Yeah.
At least, probably a little more. I'm trying to think. We went to the far side of Ohio a few years back. And granted, we hit some traffic and all, but that was probably like 10 to 12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because
it's Pennsylvania that kills you when you're going Midwestern. Because Pennsylvania is a really long state. So there's just no good way to tackle that because I'm on the outer edge of Pennsylvania. So you just have to go straight through Pennsylvania. I would say, like, if it took 10 hours, 6 hours of that was Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'd recommend a little tip for you. Don't have Myrna drive you there. If we do that on that.
Oh, I didn't mind the Ohio drive. That wasn't the Atlanta drive was worse. The Ohio drive wasn't bad so I'm a terrible passenger as somebody who doesn't drive. And this is the way, and I'm going to explain why. And every driver would hate me. So the trip,
you know why? You know why you're a horrible passenger?
Why is that?
Because you're a big whiny baby.
That's true. So the Ohio trip started off with the reason we were going to Ohio. Are you familiar with the band Midnight Syndicate?
I am not.
Okay, definitely a future recommendation. Prisoner Exchange in some way. Big influence on me, especially starting off. Midnight Syndicate played live in their early days and at some point stopped playing live altogether. Just became a studio project, put out albums and different things like that. Built up a following by licensing their material out to movies, to commercials, amusement parks use them, things like that. Great music though, very atmospheric, really well produced. That year, they were going to be playing their first live shows since I believe their first album. So it had been 18 years, 17 years, something like that since they had played live. So they were doing a residency at Cedar Point, the amusement park. They have a theater at Cedar Point and they were doing a residency there. So we drove out to Ohio to see them for their first live. I want to say it's 18 years at that point. Their first live shows in 18 years. So I got in the car. This is why I'm terrible. And I do this for everything. So I have insomnia. So I used to go days at a time without sleeping. Now I sleep every night, but it's not very long, maybe 5 hours. When I get into a vehicle though, I am like a baby. I just instantly fall asleep. So we got into the car and the person driving looked at me and was like, man, I could have slept for another couple hours. And I was like, great idea. Wake me up later. Instantly fell asleep. Slept through most of the ride. I think I woke up around Pittsburgh, which for anyone who's not familiar, doesn't have a map nearby, other side of Pennsylvania, 6 hours later is when I woke up. The driver was very angry at me because they sat in silence for 6 hours driving.
Yeah, minor edit there, of course, when you said you're like a baby, you're like a big whiny baby when you is what you meant to say, of course. But yeah. So yeah, that's something we'll have to toy with that a little bit. That might end up being a thing. I know that's going to be a bit of a journey. Of course, Atlanta wasn't exactly a short trip for a lot of folks, and we did that. So that could be kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be much worse than Atlanta. And honestly, it's just the length. Like the problem with Atlanta was that we hit like really traffic heavy areas. Whereas once we're out of Pennsylvania, like getting through Ohio was quick. And we literally were looking at Michigan because we were on the outer edge of Ohio looking into Michigan. So I don't know where hell is in relation to where we were in Michigan, but we can get to Michigan pretty quick once we're out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you got to go up north a little bit. It's north of Detroit, as memory serves. So there's a bit. There'll be a bit of a Michigan drive once you actually cross the border. So yeah, we'll have to look at it. Maybe we'll include a Google Maps to help so folks. Excellent. Well, I appreciate you sharing the experience. It was really cool. It was fun to kind of watch the day go by and see how it all played out. And so it was pretty cool. And glad you guys get to. Even though it's a pandemic month, it's still a month. So you're the band there for a month.
And who knows? Hopefully we'll get to do more with them. And I would like, I don't know what other opportunities for these sorts of things will present themselves, but obviously I'm looking forward to doing something like this again.
Very cool. Excellent. So I think on that note, we are going to wrap it up with His Honor, Dr. Mike, impeached big whiny baby Belinsky. Any closing words for the people of Hell, Michigan and beyond?
I would just say I was the greatest thing that ever happened to you.
Okay. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Ooh.